Hello to everybody who's throwing their name in the ring in a bigger way than they ever saw coming. It's Beautiful Anonymous, 1 hour. A phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi everybody, Chris Gethard here. I know not everybody loves an intro. If you are one of those people, you're going to want to skip about 5.5 minutes. That'll put you right towards the beginning of the call, and I hope you enjoy it. Hi everybody, this is Chris Gethard, and welcome to Beautiful Anonymous, the show where we explore the human condition, one anonymous phone call at a time. It's always a joy to be here. I always feel so lucky to talk with you, to see how you're doing, to touch base with the community surrounding this show. I will let you know, for everybody who signed up at beautifulanonymous.com, who gets their episodes ad-free, who gets extra time with each caller, who, if you're at the upper tiers, you also get a follow-up each month with a past caller and a secret phone number once a month just for the people at that tier. Some of you signed up to get that magazine. You're all emailing us. It is so lovely. They're going out on a rate of around 10 a day is what I find I get back, which is not ideal when we have to mail 1,300 of them. But you will be happy to hear that this is coming out on April 8th. And as you are downloading this, Andrea and I are meeting up for what I have said is our mailing day. Andrea's driving all the rest of the boxes up towards me. I recently rented a small office with my friend Larry. I told Larry there's going to be a mess in the office on the 8th because we're going to go hard and we're going to get as many of these things in the mail as we can. So some of the magazines have been trickling out. Some of you already have them. I hope you're loving them. For all of you who are waiting for yours, we're doing a huge push to try to get them out now, especially because I'm going on vacation, which I almost never do. But the more of them we can get out before I go on my vacation, the better. Speaking of my vacation, I'll be in Hawaii, and if you are looking to see some comedy and you are in Honolulu, whether you live there or you also happen to be visiting Hawaii, why not go see me do comedy at Anna O'Brien's, which is a great bar in Honolulu, on April 19th. And if you know anyone in Honolulu, please let them know, because I have a very fun thing where I can, when I go to Chicago, I can go to my mailing list and say, only send this to people who live within 30 miles of Chicago. And it'll come up, here's the, 480 people in the Chicago area. I think Chicago has more. Chicago is one of my big supportive cities. And then sometimes you go to Asheville, North Carolina, and I've never been there before. It says, here's the 6 people in Asheville. Honolulu, zero people on my mailing list. So if you know anybody in Honolulu, let them know I'm coming through. And if you're out there, I would love to say hello. Also, April 13th, that's this weekend, I'll be in Los Angeles at the Upright Citizens Brigade, hosting a show I'm calling the Night of 1,000 Co-Hosts that features well over a dozen friends from my comedy past, and it's going to be a great, joyous show. punchup.live/Chris Gethard for all of those. And as mentioned, beautifulanonymous.com, we're really bringing the heat, trying to always bring you cool stuff. And the experience with this magazine has been such a joy. I mean, a logistical nightmare and an expensive pain in the ass in a way that I should have researched before committing to it. But that being said, such a joy to remember that it is a community, and that flows in all directions. And it is not just a community that I say, oh, that community exists to pay money for us to give them stuff. It also pays money for us to know who you are so we can give you stuff back. And things like the magazine, which I think came out really well. I can't wait to hear what people think of it. These are the types of things that having this community in one place allows us to get innovative about and think on and brainstorm, and what a cool thing to be able to be a part of. Anyway, this week's episode gives me hope in a really big way. I don't know what's going to happen with our caller. Who knows how these things are going to turn out? But our caller is someone who seems to be a pretty regular person who is feeling so motivated at how things are going in the United States right now that she said, screw it, I'm going to run for office. And when you hear the details of that, I think a lot of you are going to react how I did. And it sounds like how a bunch of her friends did. Where you go, you're going to start small with that, right? Small, grassroots, keep it local. Wait till you hear what this caller's gunning for. And in many ways, I sit here, I go, good on you, good luck, hope it goes well. But I also sit here, I go, I hope this happens all over the country. I hope people go, I don't care if I'm punching above my weight. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to be the change. It really is inspiring. And when you hear this caller talk, none of it sounds outlandish or ludicrous or unrealistic as far as expectations go. And I'm psyched. I can't wait to do a follow-up, hear how it goes. I hope it happens. I want to hear from this caller in a couple years. Win, lose, or draw. I want to hear how this goes and what this experience is like. And I feel very lucky that there's people like this caller out here who I point out in the show. I'm someone who lately has gotten so bludgeoned by the consistency of concern that I can feel my nerves going numb as a survival technique. This caller still has it in her to go, no, I will not go numb. I will not figure out how to ignore this and plow forward. I will get in there and start trying to box out a different type of space. And I'm so thankful that she still has it in her, and I hope other people have it in them as well. This one might inspire you. Thanks so much. Enjoy the call.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good today. I got less complaints than I usually do, I would say is the honest answer.
Good. That's good to hear.
How about you? How are you doing?
Well, I'm actually taking a lunch today, which never happens because my job is so busy. So I'm good. It's going pretty good.
Can I ask what your job is that's so busy you don't eat?
So, I eat. I just don't take designated times to eat. But I work in human resources for a school.
Oh, okay.
And I support 9 different campuses. And they're all very needy and keep me really busy.
9 different. So are you helping with hires? Are you helping when teachers burn out to try to make sure they don't quit? What type of stuff are we talking here?
The biggest part is employee relations. So when a teacher is acting out and they need to be written up, lots of investigations that go on. And then I visit my campuses as well. So I just finished HR office hours at one of my campuses where people just come and ask questions, and I get to build those relationships, and that's the fun part. The investigation part it's very draining. HR is like, you're like an underpaid lawyer is how I feel a lot of times.
Thank you for doing it. You're helping to keep schools up and running. That's noble work. You must feel good about it on a fundamental level.
Yeah. I worked in healthcare for years. And then I went to tech for a minute, but it's just not as meaningful. So this is my first time working in education, and it's awesome. I live in a state that is really trying to defund education. So it just makes me work that much harder, I think.
It's really, the sad part is I'm like, well, that's like 45 states. And I know I'm exaggerating, but I sit here, I go, this rush to defund education, I will never understand.
They just want us to be uneducated, unfortunately. And the way they spin it, so the person I spoke to prior to getting on with you, I've decided to run for office.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so a few people know, but I haven't really got to talk through everything because Like, I'm not in politics, and I've never wanted to be in politics. I was raised Republican, so I never wanted to get involved in politics. And I grew up in a really small town where everybody was Republican. Everybody went to church. You didn't really question anything because you're living in this hole where that's all there is. And then I came down south for college, and I took a culture class because I got my degree in healthcare administration. And I remember going to this culture class and just learning like the differences in different cultures and communities, and how Hispanic communities have this going on and African American communities have this going on. And I remember going home for Christmas, like just so like enlightened, like, oh my goodness, my parents just don't realize, because my dad is racist. I mean, he would say he's not racist, but he's definitely racist. And I come home and I'm telling them this, and he says, I can't believe I'm paying for you to go to a liberal college. You need to come back home. I was like, okay. So that's when I really started to like explore things outside of the Republican Party.
It's actual indoctrination. It's actual, don't question these demands. Don't question anything. Do what we say. And if you do start questioning it, we'll make you feel like you're the weird one for doing so.
Yeah, my family definitely thinks I'm the Antichrist.
Really?
They call me the crazy, evil Democrat. And I'm like, I just am standing up for people. So this last presidential election, and even just our local representatives that were running for our state house, I got really involved and I started to learn a lot. And I mean, my sister has told me, because I have two small children, that they go to rallies with me, and they've gone to like 10 at this point. And they've gone door knocking and they've done all this stuff. And my sister's like, I can't believe you're polluting their brains like this. And I'm like, no, actually, I'm like teaching them to love everybody regardless of who they are, which is exactly what Jesus wants us to do, which is what you preach, but don't follow. So they don't know. I don't even know if I'll tell them that I'm planning on doing this. I think just one day I'll be like, hey, look at this poster of me.
I know you don't want to dox yourself on the Anonymous podcast, but what type of position are you running for?
So I've gone back and forth, and I have a few meetings this week scheduled with people who hopefully will be able to like give me like a clear vision of what this will look like. But I want to run for Congress or the House. Oh,
you're not going school board. You're not going town council. You're going House of Representatives, United States. It's just not my personality.
Yeah, go big or go home.
You're going full on United States Congress. That's commendable. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think my advantage is I connect really well with people. And do I know about politics? Yes. Do I have a lot to learn? Yes. But also our congressman in the district I would be running in, I mean, he's refusing to hold any town halls or meet with the people. And with the political climate right now, like I think it's the perfect time to run, because I think there's a really good chance, because so many people on both sides of the aisle are upset with what's going on. So,
well, I should
who
tell
knows,
you,
I might completely lose.
I think it's fine to completely lose. Okay. I think it's cool. I think losing is pretty cool, pretty healthy. I also want to let you know, just based on what you described, and I bet you might know this story, I live in the New Jersey's 11th congressional district. And historically, there was a Republican congressman here named Rodney Frelinghuysen. And if you drive around New Jersey, you see that name Frelinghuysen. There's a Frelinghuysen Hall at Rutgers. There's Frelinghuysen Avenue in Newark and New Brunswick. And this is a family. I think one of the Frelinghuysen's might have signed the Declaration of Independence for New Jersey's delegation. Like, they go way back. but he was firmly entrenched. He wasn't doing any town halls, wasn't meeting any constituents. A group formed called New Jersey 11th for Change, and a former state prosecutor and Navy veteran said, I'm going to take him on. And not only did she win, she raised so much money that he retired. She retired him.
Oh, wow.
He didn't make it to election day. She knocked him out of the race. And her name is Mikey Sherrill. She's my congresswoman. She's running for governor of New Jersey right now. And she's pretty badass, pretty badass. I'm a pretty big fan. And I'm not one to make outright political endorsements on Beautiful Anonymous, but I'll say I really like her. And if you look her up, you go, she's really badass. And she managed to take down somebody whose family has been in New Jersey politics for literal centuries. So I think that should give you some hope.
Well, and that's what's so cool. First of all, I'm going to look her up because that's awesome. But I just watched a documentary on Netflix, and I don't remember the name, but it had AOC and a few other women who were running for office and kind of their stories, and just AOC, the fact that she took out Crowley the way she did as a waitress. I think right now people just want to be heard, and it's not even Republican versus Democrat. It's just people as people. And like this weekend, there was a trans march downtown in the city I live in. And, it's like something that I'm getting to teach my kids, like, hey, because, I'm all for diversity and people being whoever they are and loving them through all of it. But when you have little kids, like, you have to explain to them, like, okay, some people are going to look different and we're going to love them anyways. And so it was really cool because we got to go to this trans rally, and there's my daughter who's 7 leading the march downtown, helping hold the banner. And then she made the news. So it's just, it's for the people, but it's also for our kids. And I'm a huge advocate for suicide prevention, and just knowing that the trans community and the LGBTQ community are suffering and having suicidal thoughts and going through a suicide because they don't feel human. It's just very disturbing to me.
Yeah.
Especially being a Christian, because that's just not how we're supposed to live.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, so many things jump to mind. One, again, not to make it all about me, but you're bringing up how you have a congressperson who's not doing any constituent meetups. I go, I live in a district like that right now. AOC taking out Crowley. I lived in Jackson Heights, Queens, and I remember the whole neighborhood going, what are all these posters that have really great graphic design with this smiling young woman, a young Latina woman who looks like the people who live around here, like the neighborhood, huge Hispanic neighborhood. You sit there and go, wait, these signs are really well designed. She looks cool. Who is she? She's got good vibes in the poster. And I've told the story on the show before. I once was walking down the street and met AOC shaking hands on the corner before she was elected. She was with Susan Sarandon, who was one of her early supporters. I was wearing a pink bathing suit and a straw hat. I've never been more humiliated in my entire life. But she was out there shaking hands, answering questions face to face. She certainly, she had a celebrity who had her back, which was really, attention grabbing and encouraged people to stop. But Susan Sarandon was not answering the questions. It was like, hey, this young, energetic person is willing to answer all your questions. And then I can speak for a lot of people in that district and say, it brought up the question, wait a second, who is my congressperson? I don't even know if I know his name. Joe Crowley? Who is that? What does he look like? I haven't seen one poster. I've lived here for 6 years. I don't know what my congressperson looks like. That's not good. She's out here pounding the pavement. I always laughed so hard when there was national press about, okay, it looks like this area of Queens and the Bronx are kind of the flashpoint of an almost radical progressivism. And I sit here, I go, certainly think it's more progressive in New York City neighborhoods than a lot of other places. But as someone who lived there, I can tell you, She won the first time. Now, I've since moved out of the district. I can't speak about what it's like since. I think they redistricted Jackson Heights. I don't know if she represented anymore, but I can tell you at least the first time, she didn't win because people were going, she seems like she's going to burn down the system and represents all these progressive values. She won because she put in the work, whereas Crowley took us for granted.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest key right now, is people just want somebody who's going to connect to them on their level and listen to them. And so, I mean, a big advantage for me is our congressman is doing nothing. He'll have virtual town halls every now and then. And even Republicans are mad at him because he has voted for some more liberal bills in the House, which good, because like gun violence is a big thing where I live. And he voted to strengthen gun laws, but he's just not connecting with the people. And I've done so much research. I have a whole poster board because the district that I'm in has 29 counties. So I have every county, how many votes he got, how many votes his opponent got, how many registered voters, what the population is. And a lot of people just don't vote and they don't understand they're Republican or they're Democrat and they just vote for that person. And they don't understand like the importance of local offices, and the House and the Senate are huge. And I mean, up until a few years ago, I didn't realize how important it was. I just always thought, okay, the president, that's what matters. Everybody else, it doesn't really matter. And I think just educating people and bringing awareness to actually local elections are probably more important than presidential elections, because that's where change happens.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you do to jump from working in a school district? Let's say everything breaks the right way. Let's say the campaign goes great. Let's say that there's a wave of people who, all these circumstances. It sounds like an absentee opponent, you being very engaged, you're a people person. On top of it, politically, perhaps things are leaning so far in one direction that people feel the need to balance it and go with someone new that helps push back against the tide of Trumpism. And you wind up in the halls of Congress. Have you sat there and thought, how do you make that leap as far as lifestyle wise, as far as all of your choices now being public, as far as being in over your head? How? Because it's cool. It's really cool, but the change is remarkable.
Yeah. So for me, I'm kind of an extreme person. When I get in, my husband told me yesterday, he's like, your mind is set. So here we go. It's all I'm going to hear about until you actually pull this through. I mean, yeah, I'll be in DC several days every single week, and I have small kids, but like for me, I love being a mom. It's wonderful, but it's not my whole identity. And I think that's another thing, just being a woman, is people look down on you or talk down on you when being a mom isn't your number one priority. And like, unfortunately, that's just not even unfortunately, that's just not who I am. I love my kids, but I still solo travel because that's what brings me life. And I love my career, and I've never been one to want to stay at home with my kids, because I think it's important to work and to show them the importance of a working mother, because my mom didn't work. And that was something she really instilled into us to be able to support ourselves. And I think it will be hard, but I have a husband that will watch the kids and support this. But also I'm showing them like, hey, you can do anything. I would be the first female congresswoman in this district. There's been one other female that has ran, and she lost three and 4 elections ago by like 2,000 votes. But I mean, it would be amazing. And I'm such a visional person, and like speaking things into existence. And You know, like I just, even now I'm like, oh my gosh, can you imagine just like election night and like seeing me up there and what if I win? Holy shit. It would just be crazy.
This is so cool. What a cool, inspiring conversation. It sounds, and it honestly sounds like you have all sorts of reasons, so many, you know, kids, nieces, nephews, people to set a good example for, change that you want to see. Sounds like you're not somebody who wants to just talk smack from the sidelines. Let's get in there. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's be the change you want to see. Be a leader. I think it's amazing. I love it. What are the actual nuts and bolts steps? It's because it sounds recent. It sounds like it's like within the past few days, you're like, screw it. I'm going for it. Let's make it happen. So what are the nuts and bolts steps? Let's pause right there. I've always fantasized about running for office, but it seems like so much work. We're going to hear about that work and a lot more when we get back. IQ Joe is the instant mushroom coffee from IQBAR with bold flavors that's loaded with functional brain nutrients and 200 milligrams of caffeine for jitter-free energy. IQ Joe is packed with 200 milligrams of natural caffeine. You did not hear that wrong. Brain-boosting ingredients like magnesium and lion's mane mushrooms for jitter-free productivity, and incredible flavors from classic black coffee to toasted hazelnut and vanilla spice. IQ Joe has flavors without all of the extra sugar. With over 25,000 five-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are starting their days on the right foot with IQBAR's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. And I am telling you, my wife has become the biggest fan of IQ Joe. She calls them coffee sticks. I recently re-upped and bought her a 40-pack. This is not a lie. Just yesterday, she came into the kitchen, went, I can't believe how stressed out I already am. It's the morning, but I'm going to have a coffee stick, and started dancing a happy dance in my kitchen. That's not an exaggeration at all. Just the thought of having an IQ Joe made her start dancing a happy dance in our kitchen when she was stressed out. It's genuinely very good. She loves those coffee sticks. I love the bars and the hydration mixes. It's not a joke. All the IQBAR products, I don't know how to say it more plainly, they are throwing fastballs every time right over the strike zone. Really quality products. I'm actually about to fly, and I've already put some hydration mixes and bars in my bag because they are just the absolute best thing to have when you're on the move, living a busy life, and I love them. And again, Hallie Bullitt, my wife, doing a happy dance in the kitchen because she gets to have an IQ Joe coffee stick to start the day off right. And right now, IQBAR is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQBAR products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, text BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. That is BEAUTIFUL to 64000. Text BEAUTIFUL to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Did you know Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers? They have all the plants your yard needs, like fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and so much more. Whatever plants you're interested in, Fast Growing Trees has you covered. Find the perfect fit for your climate and space. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. Order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, get support from trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape, choose the right plants, and learn how to care for them. Everybody needs to listen up. This is a game changer. Fast Growing Trees, I have used their service. It is incredible. You go on their website. First things first is you can tell them where you live, and they can immediately tell you how to pick species that are native in your environment and thrive in your environment. And that is so cool and removes so much stress and worry and work from you having to do all that research. And then guess what, everybody? You go through a bunch of options of trees, and then you come home a few days later and there's a big skinny box waiting at your front door. And guess what's inside it? You guessed it, a tree. This is not a joke. You get a tree delivered to your front door. And it's not like a little tiny incy-wincy sapling. That's one thing I've found is that sometimes you'll go to like a tree giveaway in the county or something and you get a little sapling. And guess what? The deer eat those saplings, or they accidentally get run over by the lawnmower, or the kids step on them. No, you're getting a healthy, vibrant tree. Fast-growing trees is so awesome. There is a tree in my backyard right now that's like 9 feet tall that they shipped to me in about 3 days, and that I dug the hole and put it in there. They have a 14-point quality checklist that ensures you're getting the best quality plants possible. Every single plant is cared for individually based on their needs. They have been watered, they've been given the right sunlight, and then they get them right to you. This spring, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. Listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BEAUTIFUL at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BEAUTIFUL at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code BEAUTIFUL. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use BEAUTIFUL to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Thanks to our advertisers. Now let's get back to the phone call. I love it. What are the actual nuts and bolts steps? It's because it sounds recent. It sounds like it's like within the past few days, you're like, screw it, I'm going for it. Let's make it happen. So what are the nuts and bolts steps?
Yeah. So I've gone back and forth, and I've actually had, I think, 2 or 3 people in my life that are close to me that have said, because like back in November, I mean, I was door knocking day of election. I went to like 6 or 7 polls by myself with my signs, talking to people. And a few people were like, why don't you run? I'm like, oh, I mean, I could, but what? Like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And they're like, it doesn't matter. Like, you have there's an organization called Run for Something that will help endorse. It's only local offices, but they call it the it factor. And you have that, like, you can connect with people, everything else, like, you have a team and you'll learn. And just from November to now, I mean, I've done so much research, but you're right. Like a couple of days ago, I was like, you know what? I think I'm actually going to do this. So I'm meeting with a Congresswoman's campaign manager who is in a district that borders my district. So like we would share some of the votes for this specific city. So I've been messaging all these people on Instagram that are within my state. I'm like, hey, you ran, you won, will you talk to me? Or you ran and you lost, will you talk to me? And so this person, the campaign manager, was like, yeah, email me and I'll schedule a call, which I'm just like, what? This is crazy. I am just like this random person that messaged you on Instagram. And now I'm meeting with her campaign manager, and she's been in office for, I think, 2 or 3 terms. And then I have another person that I campaigned with for our state house, and she lost by, I mean, barely anything. And her opponent raised 3 or 4 times more money than she did. And she connected with the people, and she's in her, because I'm in my early 30s. She's probably like late 40s, early 50s. And she connected with people. So we're having lunch on Thursday, and she's like, women are going to change this. Like, I'm here to support you. So kind of starting there. And then I have to build a team. And my main focus for the next 2 months is like really thinking about this. I'm going to city council meetings for the cities that are around me that are drivable during the week, just to go and hear people's concerns. And then if I'm still like, okay, I'm going to do this, come summer, I'm going to start campaigning. And then I have to file by December to be on the ballot for 2026.
So you got the game plan. You know the timeline. You got it all mapped out. You have from now to December to get all the ducks in a row and start thinking about how to get all the signatures you need, the backing you need, the hype, the funding.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, so Gay Valdemar, I don't remember her last name, but she's running in the special election right now in Florida. And she has, I mean, her average donation is $33 per donor.
Her name
and today is
Gay
election day for
Valamont,
her.
not Voldemort. Voldemort, I believe, is the bad guy from Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yes. So, but she, I mean,
although, is it sad to say that if Voldemort ran for politics in Florida, I could see it almost being an improvement over some of the people they've got going down there.
Exactly. But you know, her donation pool is $33 per donor. It's just regular people donating to her. So she's been really fun to watch, and just see, like, she was an everyday person who lost the two most important people in her life, and she's talking to the people, and she's just crazy dancing on the streets. And, you know, it's just really cool to see all these different people coming out to run, and it's really inspiring. And I think at this point in time, anybody could do it if you really gave it your all. I think anyone can do it.
Are you familiar with Mallory McMorrow? She's another politician I'm a fan of these days.
Is she in Michigan?
She's in the Michigan State House. She's running for the United States Senate.
Yes.
Is the rumor. And she was already in the State House, I believe, when this happened, but she first kind of became nationally prominent because one of her rivals in the State House started insinuating that she was a groomer, that because she was a Democrat, that she was trying to groom kids for nefarious purposes. And she gave this speech that, if I'm being blunt, was just basically like, yo, fuck that. That's awful. I'm not a groomer. Actually, I'm a Catholic and Christian and practicing, and everything you're doing, claiming you're protecting kids in the name of Christianity, is gross and weird. And how dare you? And she started getting into the nuts and bolts. Here's why you do this stuff. Here's the headlines you're hoping to generate. Here's how you're hoping to scare people into silence. Not going to work on me. And I think it gave her a bit of a national voice and a national platform. And now she's trying to run for Senate. I think she's pretty cool too. She's also one of the progressive voices out there that successfully basically went, hey, we're not trying to compromise with you anymore. If you cross certain lines, I will fight back. And if you try to land a punch on me, I will land a knockout blow on you. And I think Democrats need that type of fire too. I think they need more people that are willing to go, if you push me, I punch you. If you punch me, I kick you. Do you want to keep this going? Like, we can be fighters too. And she, I think in her own way, has proven that. She's another one to be inspired by right now.
Yeah, so she, I was on a Run for Something meeting a couple of months ago when I first kind of started to, like, really look into this, and she was a guest speaker. And she came on and told her story. And again, she was just a regular person who one day was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's incredible. And I think it's important, like, the Democratic Party, we have to make a shift, because what's happening now is not working. So people like her and AOC and Joaquin Castro in Texas, like, there's so many people that it's the younger generation that we're not scared, and we're not going to be quiet.
Can I ask you? Oh no, go for it. Finish your thought.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Well, I want to ask you, because you must have started thinking about, here's the things I really care about, and here's what I want to talk about. But also, if you're thinking, you know, let's be honest, right? Winning an election is hard. Winning an election for United States Congress, the odds are these things don't happen. But let's say it does. And let's say you win a primary and you're on a ballot. And let's say you start to catch momentum. And let's say your district becomes one that people go, hey, this district might flip. This person's running a good campaign. They're catching the passion of the people. This one might flip from red to blue. What's going to happen is national money comes in They start researching every tweet you've ever tweeted, every sentence you've ever said publicly, analyzing it, and they start saying some stuff to try to scare people away from you or to put you on the defensive. Can I run some things past you that I bet you've already started thinking, what am I going to say when they try to put that on me? How do I slice through that nonsense? Can we try some?
Yeah, of course.
So you mentioned earlier that your daughter was holding a sign at a recent Trans Visibility March. It sounds like, right? Trans Day of Visibility just passed.
Yes.
So what are you going to say when they dig up that picture and go, look, she wants she wants boys to play women's sports. Your district becomes one that people go, hey, this district might flip. This person's running a good campaign. They're catching the passion of the people. This one might flip from red to blue. What's going to happen is national money comes in. They start researching every tweet you've ever tweeted, every sentence you've ever said publicly, analyzing it, and they start saying some stuff to try to scare people away from you or to put you on the defensive. Can I run some things past you that I bet you've already started thinking, what am I going to say when they try to put that on me? How do I slice through that nonsense? Can we try some?
Yeah, of course.
So you mentioned earlier that your daughter was holding a sign at a recent Trans Visibility March. It sounds like, right? Trans Day of Visibility just passed.
Yes.
So what are you going to say when they dig up that picture and go, look, she wants she wants boys to play women's sports in your kids' schools?
So my husband actually asked this exact question because he was like, well, what are you going to say when they bring up the sports thing? And it's just, Chris, it's stupid. The percentage of people, and this isn't like I'm saying this to you, but the percentage of boys playing in girls' sports is so low. Like it's just an argument that the Republicans are using to get people pissed off at trans people and because they're so mad and they're never going to shut up about it. They're children. It's not like a 6'4" grown male playing against an 8th grade girl. And that's so that and the border are two things. The border specifically is something that I am like, okay, how am I going to, what's my stance on this? Because I do think we need better border protection, but I can't, the fact that we're ripping families apart and we're deporting people who are here on some sort of legitimate visa and we're still deporting them. I'm not okay with that. But where I'm located, the border it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. And that's something that I'm struggling with. Okay, how am I going to spin this to where I don't look super liberal, but also I can still attract conservatives? And I don't know.
Can I make a pitch? Can I make a pitch? And maybe I'll be one of your speechwriters someday.
Yes.
I feel like here's a thing that needs to be said more and more. Absolutely, we want a border that's run in a smart and sensible way. Absolutely, we don't want to have a free-for-all that leads to confusion and perhaps crime, but it does not mean that we trade in our basic human decency, compassion, and kindness. And that's how far we've taken it. There has to be a way to be smart and sensible about what that border represents and what it provides without giving up compassion and kindness. Why are we trading one for the other? We don't have to. Right there. How can you argue with that? How can they argue with that? You hire me. Bring me in. Bring me in. I'll be your speechwriter. I'll be a campaign manager.
You can be my campaign manager.
The goddamn voice of the people for so many years running now. The voice of the underground. You bring in old Gethard. Oh, he's 11 years ahead of his time. Maybe now is the exact time you bring me in as a speechwriter. Of course we want a border that's run in a smart way and in a sensible way. We also want it to be run in a compassionate way and a kind way. Why are there people convincing you can't have both? It doesn't have to be this way. Boom.
I feel like Trump has just allowed people to show their true hatred. And it's so concerning. So like I said, my daughter, my son's 4, so he doesn't really understand a lot of what's going on. He's just annoyed that I keep dragging him to these crowded places and I make him stay there for 2 hours. But my daughter, she door knocked with me and she was so excited and like had her little spiel that she would give when somebody answered the door. And so when Trump won, she was like, oh, how could such a bad guy win? I'm like, well, that's a great question because people think things differently. Some people like some of the stuff he stands for. I said, it doesn't really make sense, but that's just how the U.S. works. And so in January, we went to go see my dad and my stepmom. And I had to have this conversation with her about we are not to bring up Donald Trump. It's going to start a fight. Grandpa's going to get mad. I won't say her name, but my stepmom's going to get mad. It's going to turn into this whole thing. So while we're there, they're going to have news on and you're going to see Trump and we're not going to say anything because the history of my family, there's always some sort of fight. And it's usually because I'm like the black sheep and I'm vocal and I'm going to say what I'm thinking in a respectful manner. But if it's different than what they think, they get mad. So we get there. We walk in, and first thing I see is Fox News. I'm like, great. Of course, Fox News is on. But it was also very interesting to watch what Fox News says. And it was during the time where the bishops spoke up against Trump, and that was all they were focused on. And I was like, this is just crazy. That like, this is all you watch. And no wonder why you believe what you believe, because you're watching Fox News. So we're there, the last day there, my stepmom was like, hey, your daughter brought up Donald Trump. And I said, oh my gosh, I specifically told her not to. And she's like, well, I don't know if you noticed, but like after the first day, we turned off Fox News because we didn't want to start any fights. And I said, well, what did she say? And my daughter told her, so I heard you voted for Donald Trump. And my stepmom said, yeah. And she was like, well, he just lies to you, right? And my stepmom was like, no, actually, like, I don't believe that. And my daughter says, no, he does. And, maybe one day you'll see the truth.
Wow, good for her.
And my stepmom said, she was like, I don't agree with her, but she knows what she stands for. And I said, yeah, she does. I mean, we're raising our kids to love everybody, regardless of who they are. So it was funny.
I got another line you can use to combat your Republican opponents when they bring up trans people in sports.
Go for it.
Here's what you say. You go, I'm here to talk about the things that are actually affecting people. And I think we have been consistently tricked into talking about this, and it burns up our precious time together. I don't see it affecting many people out there. The second a man puts on a wig and lipstick and dunks on your daughter in a basketball game, the second a man does like a Bugs Bunny style lipstick and wig combo to dunk on your daughter in a basketball game, come talk to me about it. We'll deal with it. In the meantime, I don't think it's really affecting people. You know what is affecting people? The fact that you go to the ShopRite these days and you buy a week's worth of groceries and it's costing you between $200 and $300, and these tariffs are going to make it worse. I personally would rather talk about that than the lipstick and wig fantasy that all these Republicans seem to have. It's not happening. Let's stop wasting time. Boom.
See, that's good. You gotta jump on board.
I'm telling you, pro bono. I'll come write your speeches pro bono. And this goes to any progressive politician out there. You want some laugh lines? You want some sick burns? I'll help you out. You let me know, everybody. I'm here. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to do my part. Mostly by sitting on the sidelines and trying to write slightly witty things that aren't quite jokes, but that could be the funniest thing in a political speech.
That's awesome. But yeah, it's just like you said, switching the focus to just the things that actually are mattering. And it's like every day it keeps piling on. Like I have so our receptionist at the office I work at, she's very, very Republican. And she's so sweet. She's not educated in what's actually happening. So our state is about to pass, or it's trying to pass a bill that's really going to affect education. And so one day she asked me, she goes, "Can you kind of tell me what this is?" I said, "Oh, just sit down. Let's take the politics out of it." And I was able to explain it to her and say, like, here are the facts of what's happening. And she was like, they don't tell you that. Like, they make it seem like it's so good. And I said, yes. And, as a Republican, you just think that everything that they're doing is good when that's not the truth. Just as a Democrat, there are things that they do that I don't always agree with. And so she is now against that policy. And she's the only person I've told at work, because I don't even know, like, if I'm allowed to run for office. Like, I don't know how that's going to affect my job. So that's another thing I'm thinking about. But I have been talking to her about it, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, like, that would be so awesome." And just like educating her through all of this, like, I've really been able to connect with her. And election day, she was like all about Trump, and she's starting to change how she thinks. And I think it's because I've told her, like, you can't just believe everything that's on the news. And it's just education and just meeting people where they are and explaining to them. Like, when I told her, like, I think I might run for Congress, she's like, "Okay, explain this. Like, what does that mean?" And I mean, she's in her late 50s. And I think people just don't realize, like, the Constitution and what it says and what the House actually does and what the Senate does and what our state House does. Like, they just don't understand it. And they make it so confusing that it's hard to understand.
I think this is going to go well. I think you have a shot. I just feel it in my gut. And I bet you've also thought it will be difficult to do this. You stick your neck out there, you get analyzed publicly, you have people starting to push and pull and try to find where the weak spots are, not just in your policy, but in your reputation and your lifestyle, like all these things you open yourself up to. But should you win, it's pretty miraculous and very, very cool. Should you not win, I feel like there's so many cool aspects to just doing this anyway. I'm finding myself very inspired. Like many people, I have been feeling, I don't know if anyone else would identify with this. I actually get dismayed at how much I've turned my emotions off. That's actually a really dangerous turning point. I used to get very stressed and anxious about politics. 2016 through 2020, I found myself very angry a lot, very dismayed, kind of ripping my hair out. Now I go, it is so relentless that I've actually had to choose to stop paying attention for my own state of mind. And that in many ways is probably what authoritarianism wants. It wants the people who care to go numb so they stop looking because they can't. I'm disappointed in myself that I've gotten to that place. To hear you go, all right, in the first few months of this Trump administration, things have now gotten so wacky that I'm going for it. And I'm not going for it in a small way. I'm going for it in a United States Congress way, because why wouldn't you if you really feel like things need to change? Finding myself very inspired by that, win or lose. And I thank you for that. Let's pause there, everybody. I bet I'm not the only one thinking about this call going, you know what? I don't know if I'm ever going to run for office. What am I going to do? Because this caller is making it clear. All hands on deck. Everybody needs to get to work. What are we going to do? Think about it as I read you some advertisements. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. What do these data brokers do? I'm telling you, they are out there making money off of your name, contact info, social security number, home address, even info about your family members. You do not have to look too deep into this world to realize how insidious it gets. It's really wild, really scary. All of that info is out there compiled by these data brokers who sell it online. And I am someone who has been very public in my life, especially since my son was born. Privacy has become very, very important to me. I am not trying to be histrionic, but there have been times where I have felt that boundaries were being crossed, and Delete Me is absolutely a service that when I signed up for it, I saw the results that came back with the service they provide and instantly felt like my family was safer because of it. And I cannot thank them deeply enough. Outside of advertising on the show, Delete Me is a service I use that I sit there and go, my wife and kid and home are all safer because Delete Me is setting the bar in terms of keeping privacy private. Cannot thank them enough. Huge weight off the shoulders. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private. Sign up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful and use promo code beautiful at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful and enter code beautiful at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/beautiful, code beautiful. Thanks to all the advertisers that allow our show to exist. Now let's finish off the phone call. Finding myself very inspired by that win or lose, and I thank you for that.
You know, I can relate to that. I think right now the people who are so passionate about what's going on, I mean, so many of my friends are like, I can't even turn on the news, or like, I need you to stop sharing with me what's going on because it's stressing me out. And my husband's like, literally all you talk about is politics. And I'm like, well, they want us to shut up. And so for a second, probably like a couple weeks, I just was so depressed because I'm definitely like an empath, and I feel so much for people, and I care about people so much. And so every story was starting to really, really drain me. And I had to just kind of turn it off there for a while. But now, no, like I need something to focus my energy on. I'm somebody who, the busier I am, the more productive I am. And I'm ready to fucking go. Bring it on.
That's a campaign slogan right
and
there. Put that on the poster. I'm ready to fucking go. Put that on the poster. That's the shit.
And losing, I mean, there's so many people, like I've listened to, I mean, I drive 2.5, 3 hours every day I go to the office, and I've just listened to podcast after podcast or speeches or what my opponent's thinking. My opponent, like I'm already on the ballot. But there's people are like, you know, even when we lost, it was the impact of our campaign was felt throughout the community, and like it gave people hope. So, you know, if anything, at least there's that, and there's always another time to run. And maybe I'm crazy. Like my best friend's like, oh, wow, Congress. Like I recommended school board. I'm like, yeah, that's just too small. It's just too small for me. It's a great, you know, it's a important position, but I need something that's going to challenge me and just be extreme, because that's just my personality.
It is a thought that I expressed before, and you have friends in your real life saying it. A lot of people will start with the local, then go up to the county, then the state, and then the national level. You're aiming national. I do. Right. Starting as big as you're starting makes success less likely. It's just the nature of the beast. You need more money. You need more votes. You need more people. And there's a whole machine built against you going against an incumbent. Starting local, right? I've sometimes thought about, should I run for the school board someday? Like that could be a good thing to do in my older age. But I sit here and go, man, I can't put up lawn signs with my last name. It says Gethard, like right there, race over. You can't have Gethard signs all over town. And secondly, it seems like the local stuff is a lot of paperwork and a lot, you get to have hands-on change. You get to really get your hands dirty, but you also get caught up in the dramas of the local side of it. Whereas the national side of it feels like you really get to kind of like, if it was an action movie, it's like cock the shotgun and run into the fray. Like you're really in it. That wasn't a question.
Yeah, I think,
it was just a statement that had no ending.
Well, and if I had been interested in politics 5, 6, 7 years ago, which I like, this was never like, I wanted to run a nursing home one day or be a VP of human resources. Like this was never, ever, ever in the books for me because I've just never, it's exhausting to keep up with. But what was I trying to say? Oh, if it was a few years ago, it would have made sense to start locally. But I think because of how insane the world is and Trump's not going to stop and Elon Musk, like why he even is in the picture still makes no sense to me. I just don't understand it. Why not run big?
I like that.
I mean,
I feel like
I would be giving.
Yeah, you'd be giving what?
I would feel like I would be giving a disservice if I didn't, because I really think that it's going to be a lot of work. And I have to keep my full-time job because I'm the breadwinner. So it's going to be so time consuming, but I'm somebody who gives 120% in every single thing that I do, that I do think that there's a chance. And I feel crazy saying it. But then I talk to my friends and I talk to people that I've told, and they're like, you really could do this. And I'm like, shit, you think the same thing? Like, we're on what? We're on
You're
the same
convincing.
page?
We've been talking 45 minutes. You got my vote.
It's crazy. I've done a lot of crazy things.
I got another pitch for you based on something you said.
But this might be one of the craziest things.
It sounds awesome. I mean, if you're running for Congress as a crazy thing in a line of crazy things you've done, I love that. Have you thought about just putting it out there, just being blunt? Guys, I barely even want to do this, but somebody's got to try to stop these crazy weirdos. Somebody's got to try to stop these crazy motherfuckers. So I guess I'll step up and try. Somebody's gotta. The president's men are officially that weird that even I am running for Congress to feel like I'm doing something. Help me out. I'll tell Elon. I'll tell Elon right to his face. Nobody elected you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. And it's just wild. It's so wild that I'm even having this conversation. But I'm at the point where I'm like, holy shit, I really think that I'm going to do this. And I'm having these meetings scheduled with people who have done something similar or have done this. And it's just crazy. My friend who I'm meeting with on Thursday texted me yesterday and was like, I'm leaving town next week. I really want to meet with you this week to get this ball rolling. I'm like, we've met a handful of times, but you feel faith in me? That's just insane. We were at a protest for education a couple months ago, and I ended up getting interviewed by a news station because my kids were there. And this individual was like, you did really good. I'm like, oh, really? That means so much coming from you because you know what you're doing, and I'm just winging it. I can talk to people, but talking to a news reporter when I have nothing prepared and you think that I did good standing up for what we're doing, that's awesome. So just with time and more research and knowledge, I really think that I could do great things. Hopefully.
I love this. I have nothing to say about this in a negative way. Might as well try. Seems like you have the best of intentions. Seems like you want to get in there and at least shake things up so it's not easy for the status quo to continue. Perhaps even take down the incumbent and get to work affecting real change. Who could ever be mad at that? Not this guy. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope that you are soon a United States congressperson.
It just would be crazy. Thank you.
Has anyone in your sphere, whether it's family, friends, are there any people who have dabbled in politics on any level before?
No. My best friend, her husband works for state legislation in another state. But other than that, and I feel like I just found this out, and he's been doing this for years, like a year ago. But no, my dad lives in a small rural town working with farmers. My mom never worked. I'm like the first person in the family to graduate from college. Everybody, no politics.
That's who we need.
But
right
you know
now.
what would be like the best part of this? Like just calling my dad and saying, hey, guess what? Turn on the news.
Oh, I love that.
Your crazy liberal daughter just won an election and I'm now a congresswoman. Like, fuck yeah. Be proud, even though. And what's crazy is like they just won't even like fathom voting for another party because they're so stuck in their ways. And I think that's another vantage point that I kind of have is I was like that at one point. And it was so hard. And even to this day, I sometimes still struggle with these beliefs and views that were so instilled in my mind of like, this is what you do. You don't go against this. And I still struggle. And like, I think I can connect with people that are like on the fence of like, what should I be doing? This is how I was raised. Like, can I really just jump to the other party? And you can. And it's like the coolest thing when you finally are like, holy shit, like Democrats aren't bad. They care about people. They just want everybody to have health care. Why is that such a fucking problem?
Yeah, I mean,
like I remember growing up and my dad saying, well, you have to work for health care. Why? Like it's like a human necessity. How is that a question if somebody needs to go to the doctor? Why are we not doing preventative care to prevent all this shit from happening? It's just so frustrating. Like when you really start to sit and think about the differences and like what's happening. And like the receptionist at my job, her husband was on the plan where the telehealth was taken away. And she's like, thankfully my husband can still drive, but like think about all the elderly people who no longer can get their medication through telehealth. Like, is that not concerning to people?
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I think the sad part about being a Democrat right now is that when you sit here and go, we want free healthcare, why is that a good thing? I go, I think part of the problem is that a lot of the people who really believe in democratic policies think it's a good thing, but feel like the Democrats we've been asking to give us these things or to get active on these things have proven over and over again that they're never going to actually do it. And that, I think, is what's driving a lot of people away. It's like, yeah, I'd love free healthcare. I think there's a lot of disaffected Democrats that still desperately want that, but they sit there and go, I'm not certain that the people in charge are ever going to do that. And I'm questioning if they are even real in their stated beliefs that they want anything to change. It seems like they want business as usual. And then every few years they tell us it's time to vote for them so that the boogeyman doesn't get them. So now we'll just vote for the boogeyman and see what happens. It's really heartbreaking. I don't know if it's a loss of...
Yeah, it really is.
I don't think it's a loss of principle or passion or faith in the quality of the democratic ideals. I think what's happening right now is only a condemnation of the powers that be making the party ineffectual. I think if it was strong and rabble-rousing and still rallying unions and underrepresented groups and economically put upon disadvantaged people into a coalition that made noise and protested and took to the streets and fought back against things like the example set for us in the 1960s, I think people would still be very on board. But it seems that it's just constant placating and looking the other way and asking for votes and causing a lot of stress and saying, hey, if you don't vote for us this time, here's what's going to happen. And then the second the vote is cast, not actually taking any actions based on the histrionics that were laid out there. It's hard at a certain point to not sort of throw your hands up at the ineffectiveness. But I think that's what drives people crazy. It's not that they don't believe that universal health care is the ideal anymore. I think it certainly is. But are these schmoes going to be the ones that get it done? I think they're proving over and over again that they're not.
Yeah, for sure. And I like just the party as a whole has to start to shift. And I think we're getting there. I think that there's a lot of loud Democrats right now. I mean, even AOC and Bernie going around and listening to people, or Tim Walz going to town halls in places. Like, I think that this next election, I think a lot of Republicans are either not going to vote or are going to really consider voting for somebody else because of what's happening. And I mean, can you imagine where we're going to be come 2026? I don't even want to think about it. What else is he going to do in the next year and a half?
It's crazy. We're only a couple months in on this shit. We got people being deported because they have tattoos. This is wild. That's so wild.
It's insane. It's truly insane.
Now I feel bummed out. I was feeling very inspired, but now I'm thinking about the reality that's causing people like you to want to step up to the plate and go for it. And I go, oh, right. It's born out of a feeling of necessity and despair, and that if you don't get active, you're not doing anything. And then I sit here and I think about that, and I do get bummed. But I'm glad you're going for it.
The thing is I have so many people in my life that are just like, they're very bummed, and they're like, this is just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, I think I'm always overly optimistic, because I swore the state that I live in was flipping. I swore 2024 was going to be the year, and that did not happen. But I mean, people as a whole are good. And there's no way I would think and hope that with the way things are going, that America's just going to continue to be quiet and let him take over like this. I mean, how? And why are we not more mad about Elon? I mean, so many of my friends that are Republicans are like, oh, Elon's doing great things. I'm like, what are you reading? What are you watching? Like, I'm just so confused.
I had a friend send me a text that
and they always go back.
Yeah. They go back to what?
They always go back to the trans people in women's sports. That's always their final argument.
It's a silly argument.
Well, at least boys don't play women's sports anymore. I'm like, 100 years from now, that's still what you're going to be saying.
I had a friend text me, and it made me laugh so hard. He was like, I always kind of had a feeling that evil billionaires could bring this country down. You know, like, you grow up watching movies where the evil billionaires, he's like, I thought they'd at least be cool. He's like, not like this dork. This guy's a dork. I thought the evil billionaire would at least be dressed cool and act cool. This guy's like a weird little dork.
Yeah.
That's the guy who's going to bring down the American experiment? Is some dork? That sucks.
It's sad. I've never understood like the hype with Elon. Like when he first started to become famous, I'm like, he kind of seems shady. But also I'm like somebody who's just really hesitant with anything that's super different. But I mean, my gut instinct was right on him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you do it. And I hope it's worth it. And I hope it doesn't tear you up too much. You have a lot of excitement and idealism right now. I worry that you're underestimating how much this can affect your day-to-day life, your relationships. I totally appreciate you saying you're not someone who you want to set the good example of being active and aiming for the extraordinary and not resting on your laurels, but also this will upend everything about your life, successful or not.
Yeah, but I think regardless of the outcome, it'll be worth it. And I'm just another person that can inspire other young people to do, the impossible. I think it's scary, and I overall have pretty tough, thick skin. And I don't really have many skeletons in my closet. But I have thought all this through, and it just, at the end of the day, it's part of my legacy. And it's important to me to try to do this. And if I win, holy shit.
It would be so cool. You got to call back
I can make
if you
that
win.
change.
You got to call back if you win. We got to do a follow-up after the election. And then you still stay anonymous, even though it'll be extraordinarily easy to figure out at that point.
Sounds like a plan. We'll talk in 2026.
I love that. We're wrapping up now. I got to say goodbye to everybody who's been listening for free. We're going to go behind the paywall, 5 questions, which I love because we talked so singularly about one topic today that I feel like 5 random questions are going to give us a crash course in all sorts of other experiences and opinions you've had. And I'm excited to see how that goes. Can you hang out just a few more minutes?
Yes.
Caller, I wish you nothing but the best. I hope this goes well. I hope you shock the world. But it doesn't sound like you'd be shocking yourself. You sound very confident. I think it's so cool. Thanks for calling in. Thank you, Andrea Quinn, our producer. Thank you, Shell Shack, for our theme music. Go to punchup.live/Chris Gethard if you want to know more about me and where I'm performing. And guess what? We have a voicemail line, 973-306-4676. We also have an Instagram at Beautiful Anonymous Pod. We're also on TikTok. We also have the Facebook group over at Beautiful Anonymous, the community. So many ways to join up, be a part of things. Thanks so much, everybody. Don't forget, beautifulanonymous.com for even more time with every single caller. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. What's your favorite very bad joke?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know if I have one.
I thought of one. If you want me to give one while you think of one.
Sure.
Mine is this. Why do golfers always carry a second pair of pants?
Why?
In case they get a hole in one.
I think I love dad jokes. I think they're so lame, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to successfully answer this.
You got to go get some. This is good. This is exposing a hole. You got to go get some jokes for the campaign trail. You need a couple of jokes.
I'll add it to my to-do list.
Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.